What is up, Eva fans? Simon here. Welcome to HannaTalk. Hope you're all doing fantastic. Today I'm here with a very special guest. Now, he is a voice actor who's best known to fans as the voice of Shinji from Evangelion from the original series right to the Rebuild series, but he's also played across in shows such as Bleach, Martian Successor Nadesco, XL Saga, Code Geass, Vampire Knight, and so much more. Please welcome the amazing Spike Spencer.
Hello, 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 hello.
Hello.
Good to see everybody. And you might hear my wife come in and my baby here because we are in Australia. And,
Yes.
we're kind of hunkered down in the Gold Coast.
Yes.
So,
I actually remembered hearing about that because last time I spoke with Tiffany Grant just a while back, and she mentioned that you were down in the Gold Coast. So so now, of course, as we all know, that because of the whole virus that's happening at the moment, how have you been keeping up with things just in general, but also with the voice acting side of things?
well, the interesting thing is, I mean, the voice acting for me at least has pretty much stopped, except for like shows that I'm currently on, because now everybody has switched to home studios, and my travel mic is a really good mic, but doing say ADR work is very difficult. But fortunately, down here, I know of a studio that I can still work out of. Um, but for right now, I mean, Hollywood's kind of stopped.
Hmm. That's
So
definitely
yeah,
true.
voiceover's not really happening for me right now.
That's definitely true, and of course, the same with everybody at this point in time, really. And like, it's which is of course very difficult, but it's kind of basically one of those one day at a time sort of things. Where
Absolutely.
so absolutely on that. Now, going straight into talking about your career, how did you get started in acting?
Well, interesting. I mean, acting wise, I originally started. I wanted to, be in film on camera, and I, if you want to go way back, I started. I was in high school, and I was going to go into drama because my dad had said, well, if you want to be a lawyer, you should probably take some, acting classes. I was thinking, I want to be a lawyer because that's where the money is, and I think I'd seen some legal shows and they seemed exciting. Um, and so I took drama and I auditioned for the lead role in my first play and I got it. And once I did all of that and the opening night and the curtain went down and the applause went up, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm done. This is it. Screw law. I'm an actor. Um, and then, so from there, I decided to go for real, and I went to the University of Houston, which was like the fifth best drama school in the world or in the nation at the time. Really great training and world class, and got a baccalaureate degree from the honors program, majoring in drama, and nobody cares.
Wow.
Yeah, nobody's ever asked me for that, but I went pro early on and started doing work while I was in college, and then went on from there.
Fantastic. That's absolutely fantastic right there. And who would you consider to be like your biggest influences with your journey as an actor?
As an actor, it was always Gary Oldman. He's my favorite actor of all time, and I'm amazed by him. And actually, had the chance to dance with his mother once. It was very when I was training and dancing in Beverly Hills for a while. Anyway, but yeah, he's my favorite actor, and of course, voice wise, it's always Mel Blanc. Most every voice actor will tell you, "Oh yeah, Mel Blanc."
Absolutely. That's fantastic. And with all the roles that you've done in the past or currently or have been doing lately, are all the roles you've done like audition based?
Yes and no. It depends on, when I tell people, this kind of goes back to, hey, how do I become a voice actor? I say, well, take acting lessons, number one, and then network your butt off, and network, network, network. And 90% plus of all of the roles I get come from the relationships I have built in the industry. So sometimes I'll get roles that I don't even audition for, which is awesome. We love that.
Fantastic.
Yeah, but most of the time you audition.
Right. Fantastic. And do you walk into like a series or a project expecting to play a certain role, or is it just like walking up to a Jack in the Box, just not knowing what to expect?
It depends, but normally, to be honest with you, when I audition for something, I'm usually auditioning for like 10 plus roles. I may audition for one role. They may say, okay, here's a whole big cast. Audition for all the characters you think you can do, and of course, I think I can do every damn one of them. So I'm going to send them a whole bunch of auditions. And so okay, we got you. You got the role of this or that. I'm like, okay, cool. I don't even look at it. I just know, hey, I got a role, and I'm excited. So then I go in, and then they tell me about the role. They break it all down, and then we say, okay, awesome. And they play me the audition that I did, and we match that, and boom, we're off to the races.
Fantastic. And have you ever turned down a role for any particular reason?
No, actually, I've never turned down a role that I know of. I have not auditioned for roles that I'm kind of like, no, because if I don't think I want to do it, I'm just not going to audition for it. I'm going to say thank you, but no.
Right.
Uh, I did invite a director once to go have sexual intercourse with himself. That didn't go well for me.
Wow.
He was kind of a jerk, so.
Oh, wow. I did not expect that.
I'm
Wow.
Spike Spencer. You don't expect anything from me.
Wow. And with, as you were speaking about, of course, with voice acting, now, most of the work you've done has been primarily in the anime world. And as we all know, anime has, of course, been based 90% of the time, has always had manga that's been based on that series. Have you ever read the manga for any anime series that you've worked on, or ever become familiar or heard of a project you've worked on before you started working on that series?
No.
Right.
Just real quick, no, I don't read manga. Now I did the one that we really did work on beforehand was Ava, but that's the only one that I've ever gotten the stuff beforehand really that they wanted to show us what it was before we did it. Except we didn't get all of them because we only got like one or two episodes, and we got to see it and get ready for it. And then once we got the characters in there, then as we went further, we didn't know what was going to go on next.
Right.
So most of the time, most projects, you read for it, and that's pretty much it. You don't know anything that's going on other than the script that you get. And then when you go in, then they'll tell you more. The director will tell you more, and then you go very quickly.
Right. So when you walk into a recording session, like for example with Evangelion, so you would have like a faint idea for what the overall story is once you start getting deeper into it. But with any sort of long-running series that you've worked on, do you have an idea for what the general story arc that you're working is, or what the general series is from start to finish, or are your scenes just usually recorded out of context?
They're usually recorded out of context. I really don't have any clue what's going on other than what the director tells us. Now, some people, if they are really, really into it, they'll watch. If they're watching if this even happens, if the Japanese, if it comes out first and they watch it, then that's one thing, and they watch it, subtitled.
Right.
I think you can do that. I don't know because a lot of these things haven't even been released when we get them. So I don't do that because for a couple of reasons. One, I don't have time, but two, I don't want to watch somebody else's performance because it'll color mine.
Right.
And I'm going to do what the director tells me. And sometimes the director has a different idea, and some of the things that I would see in Japanese will not translate. So I just do, like most people say, look, I am a good soldier. I do what the director tells me.
Right, that's fantastic. And it's interesting that you mentioned about with, of course, with not watching like other performances to kind of influence the way that you give off your performance for that particular role. Because I remembered when I spoke with Richard Epcar once on how he became best known for later on doing the voice of the Joker in several of I think it was on several of the Mortal Kombat games, and he said to me that he had never listened to Mark Hamill's performance as the Joker because he knew he would probably just straight up copy Mark Hamill, which is amazing.
Yeah, yeah. And Richard is amazing. I've worked with him several times. Love the guy, and yeah, he's phenomenal, and he's directed me on several things as well.
Fantastic. Now, what was like your first voiceover role?
I don't even know, to be honest. It was not anime. It was like doing commercials in Houston.
Right.
So yeah, so I was in Houston, Texas for. I was born and raised there, and spent some time in Oklahoma as well. And then there were tornadoes, and we left, and went down to Houston, and lived there until I was about 35, and that's where I got into anime. Now, anime, my first role ever in anime was for Super Atragon, and I was I don't even know what I was, but I was in that.
Fantastic. And
That would be my first anime role, and there was a video game out at the time. Oh, it was so super early in the 90s. It was called Quantum Gate. I was in that. It was kind of a live action slash video game thing. So yeah, I know those were right around the same time.
fantastic. Now, going across into, of course, like your best known roles. Now, you're best known to fans as Shinji Ikari from the Evangelion series. What was
Yeah.
it like playing in the world of Evangelion?
Surreal at best, mind-numbing at worst. You run the entire gamut in that series and the movies. So a lot of people don't get it. I did the entire series, which took us 2 years, by the way, and
Wow.
then we did the 3 movies at the end: the director's cut, End of Eva, Death and Rebirth. I don't even know anymore. It's been so long. And then the 3 rebuilds, and hopefully the 4th, but that's up in the air. I have no idea if they'll even ask me back. So yeah, it has been up and down, and it's like an ongoing, like a family,
Mm.
because when we did it at an ADV, like Amanda Wynn Lee is my sister. I mean, my sister from another mister, but I consider her my sister. She is family, and we were down here. Hold on a second, I gotta shut this door. We got somebody doing some leaf work. Okay, that's essential services right there. Um, so and now Tiffany, love Tiffany to death. We haven't like stayed close or anything, but we always know who's doing what, and we've appeared at conventions together a lot, and um, it's it really is a family that I formed 25 years ago, and we've all kept in touch, and we all know, hey, how's it going? We can see each other at a con, that sort of thing. So Ava is kind of a family affair for us, and yeah, it was a really solid acting role. That's the one where I'd say, if you want to see me really get into a character, that was it.
Absolutely, and that's fantastic. And for me, when I first saw the Evangelion series, like you, Amanda Wynn Lee, and Tiffany Grant were just absolutely on point with your performances just across the board. From, as you
Thank you.
mentioned about before, the TV series right into the films, which was just amazing, and shows that Evangelion has really stood the test of time, and why it's still one of the most popular anime series for what anime was, for showing the way that anime could become, for how it was back in the 90s. Because at that time, I think anime was just like, it was it was not to the point it was until Evangelion happened. So I have to say hats off to all the people that have worked on that series, and to you, Tiffany Grant and Amanda Wynn Lee, for making the series what it is.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Anytime. Now, speaking about, of course, with the end of Evangelion, as you've mentioned before, I have to mention with the end of the Eva film was with regards to the ending of the movie, which had fans absolutely baffled because of how, like, obscure it was and just how ambiguous it was. What was your opinion to that final scene?
Well, I mean, this is the one where Asuka's on the beach, and is this the one that we're talking about?
Yes, that's the one. That's the one.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, where it just kind of peters off and goes into nowhere. Well, see, here's the thing. I felt the same way. Everybody's like, I'm like, what happened? That's it? Okay, well, see ya. I'm leaving. Uh, And see, and and even with the end of the series, I like to say, if anybody has a question about how I feel about the end of the series, look up on YouTube Shinji's End of Eva rant.
Yes,
If you
yes.
haven't heard that, then listen to that and you'll know exactly how Spike Spencer felt at the end of Evangelion, because that was 100% organic.
Wow.
It was made up on the spot, and I just riffed.
Wow, that's absolutely fantastic. And speaking about, of course, with that, because last time I spoke with Tiffany Grant on HannaTalk, she actually mentioned about the supposed Evangelion AIDS PSA that both you and her had done together, and that you and Matt Greenfield had mentioned about. But as you mentioned before, about the ad lib that you did, where you spoke out of character about the ending to the original TV series, which just blew my mind. What was your reaction when you found out that the PSA was finally made public?
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to go with the End of Eva. Okay, so my End of Eva rant had nothing to do with the PSA. So let me set the stage for the PSA. So the PSA, public service announcement, was a safe sex campaign, anti-AIDS. It's like
Yes.
AIDS awareness. So this was in the 90s, and AIDS was obviously still quite a large thing. It still is, actually.
Mm.
And it just doesn't have the press coverage like it used to. But so we did it was a public service for the city of Houston. And basically, if you guys haven't heard it, it's on YouTube and Twitter, and you can find it. But it was not Evangelion.
Mm.
It had nothing to do with Evangelion. It was a real, true public service announcement. But the two characters in the radio spot were me and Tiffany Grant. And the spot was basically, all you hear is two teenagers going at it,
Mm.
having sex. And this very ominous voiceover, one of these children is killing the other, or one of these teenagers or
Yes.
whatever.
Yes.
And it's like, dun, dun, dun. Like, oh my God, this is insane. But in the background, you're hearing these two teenagers going at it. If you listen closely, it's like, wait a minute, that's Shinji and Asuka. And
Yes.
so it's bizarre for people that are Evangelion fans. For people that don't know anything about Evangelion, no, they don't care. It's just a public service announcement. And the funny thing was, it never aired because Tiffany and I, they said they thought they really had two teenagers going at it in the booth.
Wow.
Yeah. And we're like, dude, we are really good at our jobs. But it never aired because they thought it sounded too real. So it just kind of went nowhere. But Tiffany had been telling me about this for years. She's like, I have a copy of it somewhere.
Yes.
And I'm like, I want to know, where is it? She finally, so literally a couple weeks ago, when all this came out, she sent me an email. She goes, okay, it's ready to go. And I'm like, all right, I'll share it. I'll let everybody know. And she sent me a picture of the cassette tape that she had.
Wow.
So I've got a picture of that cassette tape and, of course, the recording as well on my computer now.
That's crazy. That is absolutely insane. And
It is,
because
and it's not humorous. Just so people know, it is not humorous. It is a serious commercial. So people are like, oh, this is a funny age thing. No. Don't play it for your family. Don't play it don't play it at work. That kind of thing. It's a radio spot that they deemed a little too hot to air.
because I remembered seeing this because Tiffany actually emailed out to me this video of this YouTuber speaking about the PSA at that time.
Yeah, Red Bard.
Red Bard, that's right.
Awesome.
Shout out to her, by the way. She was fantastic for getting that across. And of course, she spoke about the PSA, of course, and just like the intention that was behind that PSA at the time. But going back onto the ad lib that you did on the ending of the original series, which absolutely blew my mind. When I first heard that, I went like, wait a minute, I don't remember hearing that on the theatrical cut. And for me, it was just like, if that had been in the original recording of the series, right at the very end of the TV series, I thought to myself, that would have been like Deadpool breaking the fourth wall before Ryan Reynolds did Deadpool at the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's just absolutely fantastic. And you spoke like it was just basically you just getting out in the open how many of the fans felt about the ending to the original TV series. Just going like, wait, what? After everything we just went through, like 26 episodes, and those last 2 episodes, it's like, what just happened?
Yeah, that's exactly what I felt. And now here's the thing. It's funny. Like I said earlier, we got to see some of the Evangelion episodes beforehand, but not all of them. So this was
Wow.
only in the beginning that we got to see them beforehand. So as things went on, we had no idea what was coming next. None. So it was like, and he didn't want to let us know what was coming next.
Right.
Because remember, it was being released in Japan, and there was no way to watch it except, we would get a VHS tape would be sent to us, and then we would dub to that. And that was the way it was back then. There was no, there was no email, guys. There was no Twitter, no Facebook, there was no real internet then. There was, everything was in its infancy. So if you wanted to, it had to go through the mail. We did the job, and then it would go back. And if we needed any edits and everything, it'd send it back, and then we'd go through, do it again, send it over. It was a long, drawn-out process. So by the time we're getting done, I'm like, I don't have any idea what's going on in this show because it's just gotten weird. And then they start with the pencil drawings, and then, by the time we're done, I've spent all this emotional capital put into this character, and then at the end, it's like, big blue ball, there you go, haha, congratulations, jackass. Wait, what?
Yes.
So that's what I was feeling. So I'm watching this, and I see it as I'm dubbing it for the first time. So he's like, that's it. I went, what? You can hear him on the mic, he goes, yep, that's it, man.
Yep.
And I went, hey, can you just open up the mic for a minute? Just let me kind of dent a bit. He goes, go. And that's what I did. I just went.
Fantastic.
It just stayed there, and it was funny, and it was an outtake, and that was it. Never thought it would see the light of day. And then I think, was it on the digital redo or whatever? He put it on the actual thing.
Yeah, I believe it was, yeah. But at that time, I had no idea that the outtake even existed up until I saw that video that Tiffany had sent over to me. So it's just pretty meta to know just how open you were about the ending to the series at that time.
Yeah, I'm about the least politically correct human being you'll know. I'm just like, dude, I'm gonna say what I think. And for that, I'm like, okay, well, Japan might not like me that much for that, but they still cast me in the next 3 shows and the 3 rebuilds. So I think that's probably what happened with Netflix. Maybe they said, I think we're done.
Well, speaking about, of course, with Netflix, there is that last time news came out on Evangelion was when Netflix had announced that they would redub the series with brand new actors, and you, Tiffany Grant, and Amanda Wynn Lee were quite vocal about the announcement. How do you feel about it now? And did you ever get the chance to watch the Netflix version of the series?
Well, so I'm under an NDA, so I can't really say that much, but let me just put it this way. I never said anything bad about anybody about Netflix dubbing it. I said, when I heard Netflix was redubbing it, I said, hey guys, Netflix is redubbing it. I'd love to reprise the role if anybody wants that. And people just started like, yeah, we want that. That was it. That was all I did. I didn't go, damn you Netflix for this or that. I didn't really care that much. I'm like, hey, if Netflix wants to do that, that's their own thing. Bless them, do their thing. And it's their thing. Do what you want to do, because I have no say in it. I'm simply an actor. And that's what they decided to do. Now, I was very excited when I heard it was coming out on Netflix because I thought they were going to air our dub.
Right.
And that's why I was incredibly excited. And then when I found out the news, I was a little bit, hit. It was like, oh, damn. But they wanted to go, a different way, and that's their right. So that was pretty much that. I don't say anything bad about anybody who did it. There are differences of opinion on the direction and the casting, but I say, you know what, it's out of my hands. It is what it is. So they all did a good job. I have already I've met with everybody that's in the cast for the most part, and I've wished them all well. And I've told, some people are hating on them, and I'm like, hey, stop hating on them because they're doing their job and they're good at it. And I told them, I said, if anybody gives you any crap, you send them to me, and Shinji will bitch slap them because this is, a job that we do.
Absolutely.
So lay off of them. They did a good job. They did their job and they did it well. Now, as for opinions as to what was better or worse, well, we all know the answer to that.
Absolutely, and I think that's fantastic.
See what I did there?
Yes.
Very, very nice. That's very cool. Some other people have been quite vocal about that, and it's funny. So Amanda and I did a watch night. We did an OG Evangelion watch party for, I think we got up to 8 episodes, and it was basically just watching the show. And reliving some of our end of it. It's like, oh, I remember when we did this thing. It's nothing about, oh, damn you, Netflix, or anything like that. It's like, no, hey, remember when we did this scene back in 93 or 4 or whatever it was, and remember this and that, and some of the outtakes. It was basically watching us watch the new dub as the OG.
Wow.
And, just giving kind of ongoing commentary fueled by marijuana and wine. So it was a lot of for everybody involved. But we stopped doing it after like the 8, because life got in front of us and we didn't have enough people to make it a thing. If we had like 100 people on the watch party, they'd be like, yeah, that's cool. Because what we did was we would watch 2 episodes. That takes about an hour. And everybody would turn the episode on at the same time. So everybody that was watching on the Zoom chat that we had lined up, we would press play at the same time. So as they're watching it, we're watching it, and we're commenting, so they can watch it and listen to our commentary. It was just, some of it was just crazy and silly. And then we watched the 2 episodes and then have an hour of Q&A and just hanging out.
That's absolutely fantastic.
One thing that I really did enjoy is that, so the Netflix version left out Fly Me to the Moon, which was a huge part of the show.
Yes.
So Amanda and I bought kazoos and played it at the end.
Oh.
So
fantastic! Wow, that's absolutely amazing.
Yeah. So if your listeners all want us to revive that, we got to get like 100 people on that bad boy, because it just wasn't worth it. It wasn't expensive. It was easy. So anyway, but that's the show. Dun, 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 dun.
Fantastic. That's absolutely wonderful. And I think it's amazing what you said about we're talking about with the Netflix version of the series, because there has been, of course, many dubs on so many anime over God knows how long, from Dragon Ball to One Piece, where they've been through so many redubs over the years. And I think it is very important, as you said before, to kind of be, Switzerland about it, to not like say, oh yeah, like one version, oh yeah, so yeah, these guys were terrible, our version was better, and all that kind of stuff. I think it's really important to keep that in mind about that as well. But I have to say, for myself as a fan of the Evangelion series, the rebuild stuff was the Netflix version. The actors did a great job on that, but in my honest opinion, the original has been the best and very important to the legacy that you guys have built up. So just wanted to get that out there for any fans listening.
Well, I appreciate that.
Absolutely. Now, speaking about, of course, with the rebuild series, what was it like to come back into that part to tell that story of Evangelion with the rebuild series?
Well, it was like slipping on a Shinji suit, and I mean, not in a Hannibal Lecter sort of way, but it was like, hey, here's this old character that I know, and I have to get back into it after many years out. So it was interesting. So and what we did with the rebuild, it went through Funimation, not AD Vision. So it was a new director, one of my favorite directors on the planet, Mike McFarlane. He just, oh my God, he's one of the funniest human beings ever. And I just love the guy to death. And so I just get to go to Dallas and play. I mean, it's like, hey, here's a couple of days where you're, quote unquote working, but you're laughing your butt off in between, and it's just so much fun to do. And I got to do that 3 times. Hopefully, I'll go for a 4th.
Absolutely. Now, speaking about, of course, with the as you mentioned about, of course, with the 4th movie, because this has been going about for some time that this is supposed to be the supposed final film of the Rebuild series. Do you think that there is more story to be told with Evangelion down the line, or do you think that after this 4th movie that everything will be said and done?
Well, some jaded people will say, well, it depends if there's more marketing opportunities to make more money. Will they do it again? I mean, I keep seeing it as like, well, this is like Cher's farewell tour, number 9. This is my last tour ever. And then 2 years later, this is my last tour ever. So I don't know. That's the bottom line. I have no idea. It can go anywhere.
I definitely agree on that. And last time I spoke with Tiffany Grant about this was when we were talking about referencing this to Star Wars in particular, because she said that the creator for the series, who helped with creating Evangelion, has been like the Japanese George Lucas in this instance, and that like it's totally possible. I think with Evangelion they could go down the solo film kind of route, so focus on just characters, just solo films on specific characters that felt like they didn't get enough attention within the series. So
yeah, like do prequels and backstories and all that. Sure.
I definitely feel like it could go down in that sort of direction. But as you said before, we're just gonna have to wait and see what happens with it, really.
Yeah.
Now, speaking about, of course, with Australia, you, Tiffany Grant, and Amanda Wynn Lee were in Australia for Supernova this year.
Yeah.
Was this your first time to Australia?
No, this is my 8th time here.
Wow. And what was it like to have...
I've been to more cities than most Australians.
Wow. That's awesome. And what was it like to have the 3 Musketeers in the land down under?
It was just wonderful. I mean, and we're hopefully we're going to be doing it again at the next Supernova, in Sydney and Perth, depending on what happens with the crazy world. And we had done it one time before in Houston, and actually in Houston we got all of us together plus Matt Greenfield and John Swayze and Allison, who was on live video from New York. Plus, they had Casey and Ryan from the new series. So that was a huge Evangelion win there in Houston. This is back several months ago. Yeah, I mean, having us all here in Australia was just awesome. And the funny thing with Supernova here this year, I've been telling everybody, because I'm still in Australia, I decided to stay because I love Australia. And it was crazy. I don't want to go back to Los Angeles where everybody's losing their minds. So I'm like, nope, I'm going to stay here where it's awesome and cool. And hey, look, there's the beach. We were appearing with the cast members of The Walking Dead, a vampire, and a witch.
Wow.
So I was like, dude, how fitting is that?
Fantastic. That's absolutely wonderful. And it's definitely true. I mean, I've been going to like a lot of comic conventions for the last few years now, but it's just absolutely fantastic that you see that in that sort of way at the moment. So it's just amazing. So yeah. So what?
I've been to so many cons down here. Like a year and a half ago, my son turned 1 in Adelaide because we did AvCon, SmashCon, and GammaCon a couple years ago. And then I've done what was the one? Manifest in Melbourne, and another one, something sports thing in Perth. And the only cities that I have not been to so far are Cairns and Darwin and Alice Springs.
Wow, that's fantastic. Yeah. So
every other major city I've been to, including Hobart and Launceston and down in Tasmania.
Fantastic. That's absolutely wonderful. And for myself, I mean, I've been born and raised in Australia, in Melbourne, my entire life, and I've have not been to most of the other places that you've traveled to yourself, like as a guest at a lot of these Comic Cons. So it's just fantastic. That's absolutely
Well, I'm an
wonderful.
adventurer. That's one of my things. I love to adventure and go out. I've been to like every major city in many countries, like New Zealand and Japan and Canada, and of course the States and Ireland, Scotland, England, and blah 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 blah. A lot of places. And I mean, I drove last time when I went to AvCon. I actually drove from Adelaide to Melbourne to Canberra and back to Sydney.
That's
And
fantastic.
it's awesome. It's a beautiful, beautiful country.
Well, thank you for that, and it's fantastic that you think that way as well. So thank you for that.
We only got one life, man. Live it.
Absolutely. Now, talking about some of your other roles, one series that kind of came to mind for me, for you, that when I thought of you as in a lot of the roles that you've done, which was my intro to you as an actor, was Mädchen Awakens Romance as Ginta,
Ah, yes.
which I thought was a great series. I thought that you did a fantastic job on that show.
Thank you.
And have fans ever come up to you saying that I remember you as Ginta from Mädchen, and do you remember what it was like to work on that series?
Oh, absolutely. Seldom does anyone come up with that. Every now and then I'll sign something like, oh man, Mare, love it, because we called it Mare. Um, and yeah, I mean, it was Ginta and Babo, and it was funny because I always, whenever I'm doing a fight that's kind of a goofy fight, you'll always hear me throw in, ow, my eye! And it's just silly, you know. And so that's like my signature. If you hear a fight and you hear in the background, oh, my eye, that's probably me. And that's just like my little dig there. And I did that all the time with Ginta. And it was I think it was one of the first roles I did in Hollywood. It was the first series, at least one
Wow.
of them. And I got to work with PCB and got to know them and did a lot of work with them over the years. And yeah, it was really, really awesome. And I was really had a good time with that one.
Fantastic. It definitely was a really fantastic series. And from what I heard about it, that the dubbing, I think, for the series stopped at around somewhere around the 100th episode or something like that, because I know that the series had gone on for about 150 episodes, I believe, but they never dubbed the entire series. I think they stopped at around a particular point. So if there was ever the opportunity for Mädchen to like have the rest of the episodes dubbed,
Yes,
would you be you'd be open to coming back?
of course I would.
Fantastic. Now another show that you're best known for that I saw after Evangelion was Bleach as Hanataro Yamada.
I'm a healer.
Yeah. Oh yes, the healer. That's right. Yes. What was it like to step into the world of Bleach?
It was fun. I mean, it's when you step into any role, it can be a lot of fun. Most of them are a lot of fun. If you're a bad guy, that's fun. If you're a silly kid, that's fun. Whatever it is, it's usually a lot of fun. Unless there's a whole lot of screaming, and you're like, oh my god, this is killing me. But it's fun. It's work, and that's what we do. And it's craft. It's what I like to do. I mean, originally, to be honest, I want to do original because you're really constrained to what you can do with ADR. It's everything's already there. You're stuck within time frames, and with regular original animation, you get to really focus on performance. You don't have to worry about length of time, getting it in with these many mouth flaps, saying this exact thing. You have more freedom, and I think that allows for more character development. But anyway, that being said, any job is most any job is a great job to have. Let's just put it that way.
Absolutely, and that's fantastic. Now, speaking about, of course, with Bleach, there was articles going across which I believe confirmed that they'll be doing a revival series adapting the final arc from the manga, the Thousand Year Blood War arc. Were you familiar with the final arc post Bleach?
I am not.
Right, okay. So this was kind of the arc in the manga that was kind of considered to be the real ending to the series, as opposed to what the anime had finished out on. And they had announced, I think, that they'll be reviving the series to finally do that arc in the story, which is just absolutely crazy. So, and this is one that fans have been asking about for a while now. And I actually spoke with Kyle Hebert, I think his name's pronounced.
Hey there.
Yeah, Hey
Hey
Bear,
Bear.
that's right. And he actually
Kylie Bear. I call him Kylie Bear.
and he actually spoke about just like how much fans have been wanting to see the final arc finally adapted into the Bleach series, because it's something they've been asking for since the original had ended, like a long time ago. So I'm pretty excited about where this will go. And with regards to the Bleach series as a whole, do you would you be interested in coming back into the series if they ever tell more stories down the line?
Of course.
Fantastic. Now, another series that you're also best known for that you starred in was Boruto, which was the sequel series to the Naruto series, as Inojin Yamanaka?
Yep, Inojin. Yeah,
Inojin, that's right. What was it like playing that character and being in the world of Naruto?
I still am. As
You,
far as I know, it's still going on. And yeah, I mean, unless it's not, I don't know. It tells me it's fun, you know. Because I was in Naruto, but I had like a couple of little bitty bit parts here and there. So it was really nice to have a series regular in Boruto, and yeah, it's enjoyable. I mean, obviously, you get to keep on going and keep on going, and people get to know your character better. I like that.
Absolutely, and that's fantastic. Now, you also played across in a variety of other series, such as Martian Successor Disco, XL Saga, Code Geass, Vampire Knight, and even Dragon Ball Super and the Pokemon series as well.
Yeah.
What was it like working across all those shows? And did you have a favorite to work on personally?
Um, let's see. All of them. It's obviously. I'm going to say this across the board. It's awesome to work on all of them. I mean, really, I was really happy to be in Super. Dragon Ball Z and the Dragon Ball Super. And some people say, "Oh my gosh, you took somebody's role." I'm like, I don't know. It's a spin-off from what I understand, and it's only in Asia for me. So I'm like, okay. So I get to say I'm in DBZ. Yay. Um, and Pokemon. I think I'm like 8 Pokemon, and it was funny because I was Squirtle for like a minute in one
Wow.
thing, and I was with Eric, who plays Squirtle, Eric Stewart, who plays Squirtle, and originally, and I met him in like I think we were in Tennessee, and I'm like, can you curse on this show? Quick question, can you?
Yeah, you can. I'm absolutely just go for it. So yeah.
Okay, you can beep it out. Okay, I don't curse a whole lot, but I do every now and then. But if I'm gonna do this justice, I've got to tell it right. And he goes, "Hey, say, man, I don't know. So what do you do? What do you guys? I'm known for like Evangelion and some Bleach and this and that. And then I was just I was Squirtle. He goes, "Fuck you, I'm Squirtle." And we bonded instantly. So it was
Wow.
like, yeah, cool. And I'm like, dude, I was Squirtle for like a minute, but I'm totally going to say I was Squirtle. So, um, but yeah, it's great to be a part of those and be able to have those on my resume. And you know, it's funny, even if you do like one line or whatever it is, it's on your resume. You did it. You were in it.
Absolutely, and that's just fantastic. And speaking about, of course, speaking more on Dragon Ball, of course. Now you mentioned about, of course, with working with Mike McFarland, who of course had starred in the Dragon Ball series since the very beginning. Did you ever watch the Funimation version of the series, or meet any of the other actors from the Funimation version?
Oh, I know a lot of the actors, but I've never watched the series. I don't have I got to tell you, people are like, oh no, you must watch all this. I'm like, no, I don't. I don't watch TV. I don't play video games. I'm always working on something, and you know, it's just I. If I did go down that route, I would never leave my apartment, which is probably good now. But I still don't leave my apartment because I'm always working on things online for the most part. You know, online businesses and things like that. So um, yeah, I don't watch it, so I've never seen it. And when somebody says, "Oh, this character, that character," I'm like, "Great!" I just kind of smile and nod because I'm like, I don't know. I know you're awesome, and that's where we go from there.
That's fantastic. Now, now speaking about, of course, with revivals and reboots, as we've been talking a little bit about today, if you wanted to do another revival or a reboot of one show that you've worked on, what would you want that to be?
Huh, that's interesting. I didn't really give that one much thought. You know what was fun? One of my favorites is Golden Boy, the old one, because it was just silly, and I did a lot of some funny characters. I would say it would be something that I could work on with like Amanda Wynn Lee and Mike McFarlane together, and maybe throw in Chris Kaysen in there and other people that just make me laugh my butt off. I think that's
Fantastic.
what I would do. So take some obscure anime thing, and we launch it on our own whatever, our own path, and just make it completely ridiculous. That would be fun.
Absolutely.
So it really doesn't matter what.
That's fantastic, and that sounds absolutely amazing. So hopefully they'll make something like that happen in the future. So absolutely. And where do you hope to see yourself with regards to acting in the long run?
Well, ideally, I want to do some original animation. I have a project that's been bouncing around in my head for a while that I'm bringing to fruition. And but ideally, I like original animation, like Simpsons, Family Guy, South Park. Those sort of things are what I grew up on in my voice world, and I've always wanted to do something like that in the original animation world. So
Fantastic.
ideally, that's where I want to go voice wise. Right now, voice is taking a back seat. I mean, I'm in Australia, and I'm working on other projects, but I will still be doing voice work because I have a studio. It just depends on when it's going to ramp up again.
Absolutely, and that sounds fantastic. And looking forward to see what original animation that you come up with in the years to come, basically. Now,
I have a lot of weird stuff in my head.
well, I'll be looking forward to seeing what you come up with in those moments, because that would be amazing. And what two shows have you worked on? Would you want to see a crossover between story-wise and character-wise?
Hmm. Oh, let's see. What was it I was thinking? Oh, I was thinking would be awesome. Battle Angel and Ava. I think that'd be cool.
That would be pretty cool actually, because that would be really fantastic. And last time I spoke with I think it was with Tiffany Grant at the time, where we spoke a little bit about several where I asked her that same question, because I know there have been several anime over the years that have gone into full crossovers at this point, and I heard about this one. I think she mentioned something along the lines, I think, of One Piece, and I think even Case Closed or Detective Conan. I think would be a really interesting crossover. So so if they end up making a crossover between Battle Angel and Eva, make it happen.
Yeah, heck yeah.
Absolutely. Now, what is like one character or series that you've ever wanted to play or ever wished that you played?
Oh, all of them. I mean, the one that really jumps out, and my wife hates it. I'm like, I would love to be Scooby Doo, right? I mean, that would be amazing.
That would be
Uh,
really fantastic.
yeah, because I grew up on Scooby Doo, and I've always loved the character. I had a dog that reminded me of Scooby, and uh, yeah, that would be amazing to me. Or being any of the Looney Tunes. Any characters in the Looney Tunes would make me just super ridiculously happy. Or Muppets, or any of that. Just the stuff that I grew up with that I would love to be on. Like I auditioned for the He-Man redo thing, and I didn't get any of that. And I'm like, oh, I remember He-Man. Oh my gosh. Um, so there's a lot of shows that are being redone. And I've auditioned for a lot of them, but I haven't gotten them. I would love to be in the Marvel universe. A character
Fantastic.
in the Marvel universe, man, and oh yeah,
That's
that would be
absolutely
amazing. So,
fantastic. That is fantastic across those series. And as you mentioned about, of course, with like Scooby-Doo and with Looney Tunes, because we're having, like, of course, several new Scooby-Doo and Looney Tunes series been done over the last couple of years. Two of them that I think are starting on right now, and I think even a Looney Tunes reboot. So it's totally possible that we'll get to see you pop up in one of those series.
who
So
knows? We'll
who,
see.
who
I mean,
knows exactly?
I've got to get the auditions for it.
Absolutely, absolutely. And what is your view on where the voice acting and animation industry stands within the general entertainment industry?
uh, you know, I'm not one of those guys who can speak with authority in this arena. I know everything's in flux right now because the entire model is changing due to this pandemic thing, and so people are recording more and more from home. I've had a home studio for 15 years, so that's not new to me, and I've done a lot of work just straight out of my own studio. But I've never really gone the extra area to really get an incredible sound system and the sound board and all of this craziness. I'm like, look, I want to go in there, I want to turn my mic on, and I want to talk into my mic, and then I want to leave. I don't want to get in there and to get all nerdy and, oh, it's just cool and that's cool. That's not my thing. I'm creative. I'm going to get in, talk, go. So I don't really know where it's all going to go, but I do know the internet has opened up a world of opportunity for voiceover. And as I do when I'm coaching people, I say, that's one of those things where people say, yay, oh my gosh, it's all up to me. Oh crap, it's all up to me. So it's a blessing and a curse at the same time.
I definitely see it on that sort of vein as well. And if you could change one thing about the entertainment industry, what would that be?
Wow. Wow, I don't even know how to answer that question. One thing about the entertainment industry. I think the things that I would change are actually changing now. It's actually moving the way I would say, more even playing field for everybody. And the internet has helped that. But it's still so insular. It's still, if you're not in the high school cool club, you're not in the 1%, and you're not going to get in the 1%. And that's, it happens. It happens in any business, in any field, and anywhere in the world. So, I think the internet is opening it up to more and more people. And I think that's a really good thing.
I think that's definitely true in that, and it's as you mentioned before, of course, like obviously the introduction to the internet, it's getting more people out there to want to go into careers like this, but at the same time, it's almost kind of limiting it down in some way, because it's now like, oh yeah, everyone's posting up on the internet, and like it's all right, so it's just making it that much more competitive in that sense. At least to me, that's how I see it in that sense. So
Well, it is more competitive, yes, but again, the cream is going to rise to the top. So those that
absolutely.
are consistently doing it at a higher level will rise to the top. That's just how it works.
Absolutely, and that's fantastic. Now, you mentioned about, of course, with wanting to be part of the Marvel universe. Do you have like a specific Marvel character in mind that you want to play?
Uh, no, not really. I mean, Captain America would be amazing, but obviously Deadpool would be great. But nobody's going to beat Ryan Reynolds on that. I mean, he's got it, and of course Nolan North. So, jeez, I don't know, man. Nolan played Deadpool, right? Yeah.
Yeah, Nolan played Deadpool in the Deadpool video game, and in fact, there was the discussion going about for the last few years of them doing a Deadpool animated series that Donald Glover was supposed to work on himself. I don't know if he was going to play Deadpool, but he was going to work on the series
Yeah.
himself. But they ended up scrapping the series just because of how different it was from like the way that Ryan Reynolds did it, or the way that he was done in the comics, that sort of thing. But it's totally possible they may end up getting that animated series off the ground.
Sure. I mean, you know what? There's just so many amazing characters in the Marvel universe, and I could play several of them. And if I were to be able to get that, great. If I do it, great. If I don't, great. Everything's great.
Fantastic. Now, final question. And a bit of a funny one at that, what do you think that Shinji would say if he was in Australia?
What do you say? Uh, oh yeah. Shinji might say, "I am going to run away from Vegemite." Yikes!
That's absolutely fantastic. That's wonderful. Spike Spencer, thank you so much. It's been an honor.
Absolutely, my pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. And is there anything you would like to say out there to the fans in Australia and in the world?
Well, absolutely. One, thank you all for being supportive and enjoying my work. And for those of you that don't enjoy my work, well, thank you anyway. And I have a couple of things, if you don't mind me pitching real quick.
Absolutely.
It's what I'm working on. So I've begun a podcast. It's called the Mind Scrambler Podcast, and I do a live show on Twitch. And I do it all the time. I'm doing it every day here in Australia at Spike Spencer Speaks. And a lot of people don't know this, but I'm a certified neurolinguistic programming coach. I'm a bank personality sales trainer. I've studied with Brendan Bouchard, Tony Robbins, yada, yada, yada. So I actually do trainings for businesses and people. And I've started the Mind Scrambler as a thank you to our nerd world community with sci-fi and anime and video games and animation and all the good stuff, comics and everything in our world, because I don't think there's not enough personal growth and self-help there. And I have been in front of thousands worldwide with my different talks, like Don't Kill Your Date and other cooking tips, how to be a freaking genius voice actor, et cetera, et cetera. So the Mind Scrambler is something to help everyone in our community and beyond to develop themselves, giving them tips, tactics, training techniques from the business world, from the relationship training world, to become better, stronger, more confident people in our community. So I ask that you go check it out on YouTube, Twitch, and it's on iTunes somewhere. I haven't been able to find it yet, but I know it's there. Or you can just go to my website, spikespencer.com/podcast. Check it out and tell your friends, because I give valuable information, and I do it in silly voices sometimes too.
That's absolutely wonderful. That is just fantastic. Well, guys, if you'd like to find out more about Spike Spencer, you can check out the links, which I'll put down below in the description once this interview is up on YouTube. And don't forget to subscribe to HannaTalk, like and follow me on Facebook. And if you guys have any requests or any suggestions, just comment down below. Thank you all so much. This is Simon and Spike Spencer signing off. Bye for now.